Are you sure you want any music? You are in grave danger. You have been probably misled into believing that music is good for you. And maybe it is good for you if you are not a musician, but did you know? If you are a professional musician, violinist or violist, there is probably nothing that is even more dangerous for you than music. What do I mean by this? According to the American Association of Suicidology, 25% of patients with life-threatening conditions such as cancer or diabetes develop mental health disorders. For the sake of comparison, according to the Guardian major newspaper, 60 to 71% of professional musicians have suffered or suffering from poor mental health without having any life-threatening conditions. Look, from 25% here to 71% there, we are talking about an increase of 180%. Are you still going to say there is no problem? Apparently, if you are given a choice between a life-threatening condition or a career in music, the chances of your mental well-being are much better on this side. Here's what I don't understand, and I need your help. When somebody is diagnosed with a life-threatening condition such as cancer or diabetes, people express their concern. They say things such as, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish you a speedy recovery. I believe you can do this." But when somebody is diagnosed with a lifelong love of music, then nobody says a thing. Or perhaps other than, "What makes you think you have it, what it takes?" Listen, there are many reasons why mental health is such a big issue among professional musicians. You just cannot ignore it. And one of these reasons is this constant pressure on you. You are expected to be flawless, perfect all the time. God forbid you make any mistake of any kind. Mistakes are not forgiven in the music industry. And to make the matters even worse, there are so many experts out there, and each one of these experts has a ton of opinion about what does this mean to be perfect musician. I mean, have you ever witnessed a competition or an audition? That's when jury members start discussing the next contestant, brilliant musician on stage. "Oh, this little young lady there, I believe she has a lot of potential, but she has a very broad vibrato. Oh, do you think that she has a potential? Her vibrato was way too small and no chances in the music industry. Fired. Next." The question is, are you prepared to recognize there is an issue? An even better question is, do you want to be part of the problem? Or do you want to be a problem solver? And you might be arguing, well, if the solution was very easy, the problem would even not exist. And the truth is, the solution is right now in front of you. And the name of this solution is empathy. Your willingness to listen to the other person with an intent to understand. Your willingness to recognize that person in front of you has her or his unique voice and their right to bring their personal and artistic vision to fruition. I want to share with you a story. I have a son, he's 5. When he was 4, he really insisted, "Papa, I want that Lego train." So I go to the shop and I buy a Lego train, a big box, hundreds of pieces with remote control. 5 or 6 hours later, he builds this train together with his mom, and the train with remote control is running along the track. Ooh, and my son is so happy. Wow, fascinating. A few days later, I enter in the room, and the room is unbelievable mess. This train is taken into hundreds of pieces. There is practically no place where I can step. And guess what? Of course, I enter in the room and I step onto one of those very sharp pieces. Oh, 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 son, come on. What is this mess? It is so dangerous. Come on, tidy this up right now. Papa, wait a second. What are you doing? This was an island, and that was a beautiful stretch of water, and I built a marina there with sailing boats, and this was a town with a railway station, and this was an island with a beautiful forest on top, and you're telling me this is a mess? You are even not trying to understand me. He starts crying. He runs off into his room, and he closes the door. And this is when I realize what a horrible mistake I've made. I approach his door. Son, I'm so sorry. I made a big mistake. I promise I will always listen to what you want to say. Okay? I'm really, really sorry. We made peace, and a year later, this train has been magically transformed into dolphins and whales and ocean and boats and cities and churches and restaurants and concert halls and banana plantations with real Lego bananas and monkeys and palm trees with beehives and bees inside. Empathy. It can spell all the difference between a ruined life and dreams fulfilled. I want to share with you a story of a musician you and I know so well. When he was young, 3 years of age, his parents had a huge expectations of him. They had big, ambitious goals. They wanted their son to become the #1 pianist in their country. So they scrap up all their savings and they buy a piano. From that day, the 3 years young boy practices every single day from 5 a.m. When he reaches the age of 9, his father moves to Beijing so that his son can study at the most prestigious institution in the country. Inexplicably, the boy is expelled from the conservatoire just 6 months later. And in the interview for CNN, he shared, "My teacher told me, you have no talent whatsoever, you are unfit for the industry." The boy bumps into his father, and the father goes completely furious. "You insulted me, you ruined all of my plans, you better commit a suicide." He throws a pack of medications and he orders his boy to take an overdose. The boy cries, "Papa, I don't want to die, I want to live." That's when his father orders, "Jump out of the window." The boy goes completely crazy. He starts smashing things. He hates his father. He hates the piano. He hates even music. Fast forward a few years later. He shares in an interview for CNN that he is happy that he didn't commit suicide. It took more than 10 years for him to come in terms with his father. It took as much to forgive his teachers. And here is the message he shared in this interview. "I wish musical education institutions around the world, conservatories, colleges, academies of music, universities of music, change their priorities. And instead of prioritizing success at any cost, they begin prioritizing and recognizing each musician's uniqueness. And they start helping every musician to bring out that unique voice in themselves." This beautiful picture we call life. It is all the more rich when it is painted with brush strokes of different size and different lengths and different colors, as opposed to regimented brush stroke of just one color and one size. And it all begins with empathy. Let's make it our common goal. If you are a music professional, luthier or violin or viola or cello player, if you are a music professional with a chisel or a finger playing, crafting musical instruments, or a teacher or a musician on stage, let's make it our common mission to inspire every person in front of you to find their unique voice and bring their most daring, artistic and personal dreams to fruition. When we do this, our children will be living in a world where we can be sure that they will always be heard and they will always be encouraged to bring the very best in them. Together we can create a world that is much kinder, much more connected, much more trusting. Thank you for joining me in this message. If you found some value in this mission, then you are more than welcome to like my page or profile, subscribe to my channel wherever you happen to see this message, be it on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or my personal blog. I'm Dmitry, I'm the author of the book on the Spala, how violinists can find their unique voice and open new career opportunities in 14 days. And in the past 30 plus years, I've been specializing in helping both instrument makers and violinists and violists and string players to find their unique voice and fulfill their artistic aspirations. I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the next video.